So there's a Republican running in Colorado for Congress. His problem is that he paid a girlfriend to have an abortion. Oops. But to be fair though, he's of course not a hypocrite. He's pro-life. Of course.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
Now, normally that stuff never gets challenged, but he went on a local news station where it got challenged. So there's here, I'll give you one of the quick, funny quotes. She had an abortion. Was that her choice? Yes. Did she have that right? Yes. Was it my choice, Kyle? No. Well, you did kind of pay for it. So we're gonna give you all the facts on how this dude was stone cold busted. It's hilarious. John's got more.
100%, and how the story has sort of developed or changed arguably over time. But he is adamantly pro-life and a critic of abortion in very stark terms, by the way. This is Representative Holtorf, did make headlines earlier this year for admitting that he had paid a former girlfriend to get an abortion. Although he tells it differently depending on who is asking and when. So during a House floor speech, he said this: I also believe in women's rights. I have 5 daughters, so it's extremely complex. So let's talk about the next part of this little story. When I was in college, I had a girlfriend and she was a beautiful young woman. And I don't know why that's a relevant part of the story. And we had the unfortunate experience of her getting pregnant. I'm Catholic, so you know my position on life. But I had to respect her rights because she said she didn't want to keep her baby. It becomes her baby in that case. And that's hard. That's hard for a man who respects women. But I respected her rights and actually gave her money to help her through her important critical time so she could live her best life. So there is a journalist who initially sort of broke the story. This is Kyle Clark, who sat down for an interview with Holtorf and sort of pressed this question, asked him point blank, you have voted to limit abortion access for other women, but you say that you respected your girlfriend's right to an abortion so that she could live her best life. If abortion was the best choice for your girlfriend, why try to deny that to other women? Now, as you would expect, he did not want to give a straight answer to this, but Clark kept asking, and eventually they got to this. Holtorf said, there are times when that choice can't be made or it's complicated, particularly for the woman. Okay, and I understand that. I found out that she was pregnant the week I deployed to military training in the summer of, I think, 1986. So now the way he's telling it is that he went off to that training, comes back months later. His girlfriend had already had the abortion despite him telling her to wait months, I guess, before making the decision, and said she had an abortion. Was that her choice? Yes. Did she have that right? Yes. Was it my choice, Kyle? No. And he says, then he financially helped her after the fact, which is not the exact same story that we've been told before. But he says, when she came to me and said she'd had an abortion and she was having trouble financially, what does a good person do? Try to help another person that's in trouble. So I did give her money, I helped her, and we continued to date and try to salvage our relationship, which didn't work out okay. But I absolutely did help her because that was the right human thing to do. And he eventually says, I'm a pro-life person. I think you should choose life or try to choose life every time. But there are exceptions, and there are times when you need an abortion. Abortion is a medical procedure. To which Clark said is one of the exceptions when Richard Holtorf is the father. And he says, that's a tough question. And he says, no, it isn't that. It's not about me. Don't personalize it. Make it about me. Okay, and he closes by saying, that's a story, okay? That's not that important. What's more important is the policy. But like, okay, I agree, your personal story is not that important to me, the policy is, but he sponsored a failed 2020 measure to ban abortion in Colorado after 22 weeks. And he's also called abortion rights supporters godless heathens, which I guess would include his ex-girlfriend who had the abortion.
And him, since he paid for it.
100%. Now look, I know the part of this story that you're super interested in, which seems like you think he more enthusiastically did it back then and then changed it. That's entirely possible. But for me, I don't even need to question his story to have an issue with this. He says in that speech, I also believe in women's rights. But he doesn't mean inherent rights. He doesn't mean fundamental rights. He means I will respect whatever rights we allow you to have right now. I guess if it's not banned, I guess you can do it. But if we can ban it, we're gonna ban it. And then it's not about respect anymore. It's not about rights anymore. Your difficult situation or whatever, I don't care. If we can ban it, we ban it. And then I only have to respect those rights from then on. And that I absolutely hate.
Yeah, no, I don't actually have an opinion on what he was thinking when he first did it. I do have an opinion on him basically doing the most Republican thing in the world, which is that rules should apply to you, not me. He says, don't personalize it. What do you mean don't personalize it? When you take away abortion rights, reproductive rights, you're personalizing it. That affects every woman personally. But he doesn't know or care about them because they're not him. So he's like, oh yeah, I can take away their rights. But me, no, me and I knocked her up. I didn't want to marry her. Don't personalize. It's like OJ saying that he's in favor of a rule against homicide. And they're like, well, a little inconvenient. And he's like, hey, don't personalize it. Don't personalize. Okay, so guys, look at how he refers to his girlfriend and then the bill that he passed. He said it was the right human thing to do to pay for her abortion. So when it's him, come on, I'm just being a human. I mean, my heart goes out to that poor lady. She's, I knocked her up and then she had this difficult situation and was gonna ruin her life. Well, how about every other woman in that situation? Who cares about them? God damn it. I'm doing the human thing there, but I'm doing the inhuman thing as a legislator. And he said, so she could live her best life. But other women have to live their worst life. He doesn't care about them living their best lives, but that was a woman he knew. So guys, I'm sorry, but for a lot of Republicans, the number one thing is, it's not that they don't have empathy. They have empathy for themselves and for people right in a very small circle around themselves. Yes. But the minute they don't know the person, empathy's gone. It falls off a cliff. And all of a sudden they don't have, who cares about doing the human thing, the right thing, so they can live their best lives. And then, and the perfect example of that was the other quote that John read. There's certain exceptions, right? For banning abortion. Well, what are the exceptions? The exceptions is when it's you, okay? But anyway, if you can't see how hypocritical this is, you got a massive problem. But by the way, Republicans won't care at all, at all. DeJarlais, a congressman from Tennessee, paid for 3 abortions, 2 from his wife and 1 from his mistress. Reelected, because they're just using it to control women. They don't care about it in reality at all. They don't think it's a moral issue. I'm sorry, even if you think it's a moral issue, you don't. You'll vote for this guy, you voted for DeJarlais, you vote for Donald Trump. It's not a moral issue at all. You're just trying to find a way to go back to the old ways. The old ways when women knew their goddamn role. That's what Republicans stand for.
And you will grow 2 inches because of it. You won't, it won't happen. Jobs won't come back to the country because women are back in the house. It's just so funny to me. I love the idea that the loophole is yeah, well, what about other women? Well, they're not my girlfriends yet. This all feels like a long con to get women to date Republicans so they can somehow have reproductive rights. The real thing about this is abortion and Roe v. Wade specifically is about what? It's not about when you think a life becomes a life. It's not about whether you would have an abortion yourself or whatever. It's about privacy. It is about privacy under the 14th Amendment, that the government doesn't have a right to obligate you to bear children. That's it, to start a family, period, end of story. It has nothing to do with your morality or yes, your desire to control women. It is all about the right to privacy. And so we keep on coming back to this. And you're totally right, Cenk. This is about Republicans having zero object permanence when it comes to empathy. They as soon as it's not someone they know, they absolutely have no idea. When it's no, that could be your girlfriend, Richard. Think about that. That she could be pregnant with yours. How do you know? And if that's how we have to reverse engineer this, then I don't know. Let's do it. But we all know that mistresses of Republicans and Republican women themselves and happily married Republicans, if they have the money, they will be able to get abortions discreetly. 100%. They'll be able to have, the private clinics. They can pay the money to fly themselves to a state that has, actual reproductive rights, and they'll do it. But poor people, working people will not have that right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one last thing here. Anybody who watches the show regularly knows I criticize Democrats all the time, to people's great frustration. I go after everyone depending on what they're actually doing or not doing, right? In this case, there is no dispute. If you vote for Republicans, they will take your rights away if you're a woman. They will say you don't get to control your body. Big government controls your body. You no longer have freedom under certain circumstances. The big jackbooted thugs in the government, like this guy, are gonna come and say, the state now owns your body for 9 to 10 months. And by the way, then you have to take care of the baby. I don't care, rape, whatever, I don't care. Take care of the baby, make more babies, and you now work for the state. You don't get to control your own freedom anymore. That's a stone cold fact. There is no version of this story where if you vote for Republicans, that you'll still have rights as a woman. They're for taking away your reproductive rights in every state and at the national level. And they don't deny it. They're like, yes, we think we should take your rights away because God told me to. Yeah, sure he did, buddy. So it's indisputable. So if you're a woman and you don't believe that you should have freedom, and you think jerks like Richard Holtorf should have the right to determine what you do with your body, okay, vote Republican. But don't say we didn't tell you, it's a fact. And if you're blind to that fact or you don't mind, okay, sign up to be chattel. But that's not how we roll around here. We actually believe in America and we believe in freedom, unlike Republicans. Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.